Chapter 1. The boy stood on the highest knoll of the low country in the western kingdom of the ring, looking north, watching the first of the rising suns. As far as he could see stretched rolling green hills like camel humps, dipping and rising in a series of valleys and peaks. The burnt orange rays of the first sun lingered in the morning mist, making them sparkle, lending the light a magic that matched the boy's mood. He rarely woke this early or ventured this far from home, and never ascended this high, knowing it would incur his father's wrath. But on this day, he didn't care. On this day, he disregarded the million rules and chores that had oppressed him for his 14 years. For this day was different. It was the day his destiny had arrived. The boy, Thorgrin of the western kingdom of the southern province of the Clan MacLeod, known to all he liked simply as Thor, the youngest of 4 boys, the least favourite of his father, had stayed awake all night in anticipation of this day. He had tossed and turned, bleary-eyed, waiting, willing for the first sun to rise. For a day like this arrived only once every several years, and if he missed it, he would be stuck here, in this village, doomed to tend his father's flock the rest of his days. That was a thought he could not bear. Conscription Day. It was the one day the king's army canvassed the provinces, hand-picked volunteers for the king's legion. As long as he had lived, Thor had dreamt of nothing else. For him, life meant one thing: joining the Silver, the king's elite force of knights, bedecked in the finest armour and the choicest arms anywhere in the 2 kingdoms. And one could not enter the Silver without first joining the Legion, the company of squires ranging from 14 to 19 years of age. And if one was not the son of a noble or of a famed warrior, there was no other way to join the Legion. Conscription Day was the only exception. That rare event every few years when the Legion ran low and the king's men scoured the land in search of new recruits. Everyone knew that few commoners were chosen, and that even fewer would actually make the Legion. Thor stood there, studying the horizon intently, looking for any sign of motion. The Silver, he knew, would have to take this road, the only road into his village, and he wanted to be the first to spot them. His flock of sheep protested all around him, rose up in a chorus of annoying grunts, urging him to bring them back down the mountain where the grazing was choicer. He tried to block out the noise and the stench. He had to concentrate. What had made all of this bearable, all these years of tending flocks, of being his father's lackey, his older brother's lackey, the one cared for least and burdened most, was the idea that one day he would leave this place. One day, when the Silver came, he would surprise all those who had underestimated him and be selected. In one swift motion, he would ascend their carriage and say goodbye to all of this. His father, of course, had never considered him seriously as a candidate for the Legion. In fact, he had never considered him as a candidate for anything. Instead, his father devoted his love and attention to Thor's 3 older brothers. The oldest was 19, and the others but a year behind each other, leaving Thor a good 3 years younger than any of them. Perhaps because they were closer in age, or perhaps because they looked alike and looked nothing like Thor, the 3 of them stuck together, barely acknowledging Thor's existence. Worse, they were taller and broader than he, and Thor, who knew he was not short, nonetheless felt small beside them, felt his muscular legs frail beside their barrels of oak. His father made no move to rectify any of this, and in fact seemed to relish it, leaving Thor to attend the sheep and sharpen weapons, while his brothers were left to train. It was never spoken, but always understood that Thor would spend his life in the wings, be forced to watch his brothers achieve great things. His destiny, if his father and brothers had their way, would be to stay here, swallowed by this village, and give his family the support they demanded.